This video could hold the key to finally getting rid of that frustrating brain fog that makes you feel mentally sluggish after turning 40. Prepare to discover the one pervasive, everyday toxin you consume that science proves is actively dulling your mind and slowing your cognitive speed. We often accept a certain level of mental haziness, difficulty focusing, slower recall, or a general feeling of mental fatigue as an inevitable part of aging, especially once we cross that 40-year threshold. However, compelling scientific evidence suggests that a significant amount of this so-called brain fog is not merely an age-related decline, but rather a direct result of chronic overexposure to a specific dietary element. This ubiquitous culprit, often hidden in plain sight, is the consumption of refined and added sugars, a category that includes common table sugar, high-fructose corn syrup, and the rapidly digested starches found in many ultra-processed foods. You might be wondering how something that tastes so satisfying can have such a deeply detrimental effect on your most vital and complex organ. The mechanism is not simple. It involves a complex, three-pronged attack on your brain's structure, energy system, and protective barriers. Let's first fully unpack the foundational connection between chronic high-sugar intake and your brain's primary fuel source, glucose. While the brain is undeniably the body's most energy-demanding organ, relying on a stable supply of glucose for optimal function, a consistent excess of glucose, particularly from refined sources, initiates a metabolic catastrophe. When you consume refined sugar, it is rapidly digested and enters your bloodstream like a tidal wave, causing a severe, sharp spike in blood glucose levels. This glucose surge demands an immediate, equally dramatic response from your body, forcing your pancreas to release an enormous surge of the hormone insulin. Insulin's job is critical, to act as the key that shunts glucose out of the bloodstream and into your body's cells for energy. Over years of this constant, unnatural spiking, your body's cells, critically including the neurons in your brain, begin to stop responding effectively to insulin signal. This profound state is known as insulin resistance, meaning the key no longer fits the lock, and the brain struggles to absorb the energy it needs. Now here's the deeper scientific mystery. Why does this specific brain insulin resistance lead directly to cognitive dysfunction? Leading neuroscientists have begun to clinically refer to Alzheimer's disease as type 3 diabetes, a powerful conceptual term that underscores the central role of impaired insulin signaling in accelerating age-related cognitive decline. In this insulin-resistant state, your neurons literally struggle to take up their required glucose, creating a state of chronic, low-grade energy starvation, particularly in the most metabolically active brain regions. This energy deprivation is most pronounced in the hippocampus, which is the delicate, seahorse-shaped structure responsible for consolidating new memories and regulating your mood. When hippocampal function is compromised by energy loss, the most common symptoms are exactly what you call brain fog, slow processing speed, difficulty with new learning, and a pervasive feeling of mental fatigue. But the assault on your brain's energy system is just the first layer of damage. The excess sugar also initiates a process of molecular decay called glycation. Love this video? You'll enjoy what's linked in the description too. Don't miss out. Glycation occurs when surplus sugar molecules bind randomly and indiscriminately to proteins and lipids throughout your body, creating toxic compounds. These sticky, rigid molecular structures are called advanced glycation end products, or AGEs, and they are profoundly harmful to the fragile architecture of the brain. AGEs accumulate within the brain's tissue, cross-linking proteins and promoting structural rigidity, which literally accelerates cellular aging, and contributes to the formation of tangles and plaques associated with neurodegenerative diseases. Furthermore, this constant demand for glucose processing overwhelms the mitochondria, the tiny power plants within your neurons. When mitochondria are overworked by excessive fuel, they leak reactive molecules that generate massive oxidative stress, causing internal rust-like damage to the neuron's DNA and cellular membranes. This overwhelming oxidative damage is one of the primary drivers of neuroinflammation, the second major pathway through which sugar dulls your mind. Refined sugars aggressively promote a state of chronic, low-grade systemic inflammation throughout your entire body, and the inflammatory signal is constantly broadcast to the brain. This inflammation involves the excessive release of pro-inflammatory immune signaling molecules, known as cytokines, which directly impair the efficiency of synaptic transmission, which is how your neurons communicate. For individuals over 40, this neuroinflammatory effect is catastrophic because the brain's own specialized immune cells, the microglia, become hyperactivated and less efficient at cleaning up cellular debris. The constant inflammatory pressure caused by a high-sugar diet effectively ensures the brain is always in a state of crisis, making it nearly impossible to maintain optimal focus and recall. Now, let's reveal the third critical layer of damage: how sugar directly compromises your brain's protective shield. Chronic high glucose levels and persistent inflammation have been shown to degrade the integrity of the blood-brain barrier, BBB. The BBB is a highly selective semi-permeable membrane composed of tightly packed cells, designed to strictly control which substances can pass from your bloodstream into your delicate central nervous system. When the BBB's tight junctions are weakened, it becomes leaky, allowing potentially harmful substances, including inflammatory immune cells and circulating toxins, to infiltrate the brain tissue. This breach significantly increases your brain's vulnerability to all forms of damage, and is a powerful mechanism contributing to the pervasive feeling of brain fog and cognitive vulnerability. An additional layer of damage comes from the essential connection between your stomach and your mind, known as the gut-brain axis. Refined sugar consumption is a potent disruptor of the fragile balance of your gut microbiome, preferentially feeding harmful pathogenic bacteria over the beneficial ones. This imbalance, called dysbiosis, is a key instigator of intestinal permeability, commonly referred to as a leaky gut. Join our community and never miss out on new content. Subscribe today. When the gut lining is compromised, microbial fragments and inflammatory toxins enter the bloodstream, traveling the vagus nerve and circulating to the brain, directly exacerbating systemic neuroinflammation. This means that the food decisions you make today are actively shaping the environment inside your brain, either making it sharp and resilient or cloudy and inflamed. The key action to take involves ruthlessly identifying and systematically eliminating the sources of added and refined sugar from your daily diet. This step requires diligent detective work, moving beyond just avoiding cake and ice cream, and critically scrutinizing the labels of foods where sugar is cunningly and intentionally hidden. Look for the more than 50 different names for sugar, including obvious ones like sucrose, glucose, and high-fructose corn syrup, but also stealthier versions. Be wary of ingredients like rice syrup, barley malt, dextrin, fruit juice concentrate, and even seemingly savory additions like molasses and honey when they appear high up in the ingredient list of packaged goods. Choosing whole, unprocessed foods like natural fruits, a wide variety of fibrous vegetables, lean proteins, and healthy monounsaturated and polyunsaturated fats is the most reliable way to stabilize your blood sugar levels. This blood sugar stability is what immediately begins to starve the inflammatory processes in your brain and provides your neurons with the stable, clean energy they desperately need. Natural fruits, for instance, contain sugars, but they also provide high amounts of fiber and protective antioxidants, which work together to slow the sugar's absorption and protect your cells from oxidative stress. Making this necessary switch is not about eliminating all enjoyment or flavor from your life. It is a profound act of self-care and a commitment to preserving your mental acuity. It is about retraining your palate to appreciate the subtle, natural sweetness of whole foods and providing your brain with the sustainable energy required to thrive after 40. The good news, and the final piece of this loop, is that the brain is remarkably plastic and capable of regeneration. By cutting this one major dietary toxin, you stop the cycle of inflammation and create an environment where the production of BDNF, that essential miracle-grow protein, can begin to recover. This recovery enhances neurogenesis, the growth of new brain cells, and strengthens existing neuronal connections, offering a real, scientifically validated path to reversing brain fog and boosting your mental sharpness. Cutting this one insidious food, refined and added sugar, is a powerful and immediate intervention that offers a clear path to reversing debilitating brain fog, consistently boosting your mental clarity, and actively protecting your long-term cognitive destiny. Are you over 40 and living your best life? Share your inspiring story with the world and spread positivity in the comments below. Ultra-processed foods disguised as healthy may harm you after 40. Learn what to avoid for longevity. Let's watch the next video here.